All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this special video demo from the InterDrone Podcast. We're joined today with Amber Wilson, Manager of Aviation Technology for Virginia Department of Aviation. Scott Drew, he's the Project Manager of ATA and the Virginia Fix, and John Eberhardt, the CTO of ATA, and he's the Program Manager for their UAS practice. So this video demo is going to be about the Virginia Flight Information Exchange, or the Fix. So this is a project that is pretty new, and it's all about bringing transparency to the drone industry for government agencies so they can share information with each other. And we're actually going to get a look kind of under the hood at this platform, and excited to have some of the developers and the project managers and thought leaders behind the project kind of walk us through this. So without any further ado, Scott, if you wouldn't mind,
Sure, absolutely.
Tell us what we're looking at and maybe walk us through the interface.
Sure. So the Virginia Fixed Flight Information Exchange, it's administered by the Virginia Department of Aviation with partners with the Virginia Department of Transportation, Energy Management, and Center for Aviation Technology. We worked with them to develop this tool, DOAV spearheading the effort to kind of get this out there as an information hub focused on providing authoritative local and state data to foster collaboration for the benefit of both public safety and transparency. So this is kind of a data sharing platform, that state and local agencies can opt in to use in order to file advisories. Those advisories can be anything from actual unmanned aircraft operations to incident operations, which is a specific Virginia type operation that is illegal to be interrupted. So any type of first responder event or emergency event by Virginia code. And then also just any operations that could impact any type of UAS activity, whether it be a public gathering, whether it be an emergency, or other UAS operations at the local level that could be impacted by any type of emergency. Anyway, let's get into it. So what we're looking at here is the landing page. This is publicly available. You can get to it at virginiafix.com, Virginia all spelled out. And when you get to the landing page, you'll see three options at the bottom here. The search advisories is a publicly searchable tool. Request account, that is exactly what it is. Request and account administered through DOAV, and then government login. That's for any users that are going to be logging in. So from the public standpoint, let me show you how search advisories would work. Pops up a standard search field here, a bunch of different options that you can search using, and also a radius search. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to do a simple radius search within 10 miles of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Basically right smack dab in the middle of the state. I'll click search and it'll pop up our results. Now this is not a real advisory. I put this advisory in here just to demo, but what we see here is traffic accident oil spill. So I can select that advisory and then zoom to it, and it'll show a highlighted area around Interstate 95 that was posted as this emergency hazmat response. When you click on the advisory, it gives you associated information here: traffic accident oil spill, point of contact name, phone number, the type of advisory, that it is an incident operation, so it is a first response incident operation, that it is not a UAS operation, so it is not a drone operation, this is just an emergency management operation, and any other associated information. This is a time window that I time boxed it for today, starting this morning and ending this evening. The publicly searchable fields, you can search by city, you can search, like I said, radius, you can search by, let me go back here. Oops, I'm so sorry.
Love the logo, by the way.
Thanks. And the other interesting one is that you can search by frequency to see any type of reoccurring advisories that have been posted. Okay. So let's go ahead and log in and show you more of the meat of the tool here.
So we're logging in as from the government side.
Correct, yeah. So the landing page shows you a map of the Commonwealth, and all of this overlay that you're seeing is an FAA layer. The FAA layer has altitude restrictions and SUFers, any type of restricted areas. It's advisory only. This is not a LANC tool. It does not provide FAA authorization. This is just for advisory people filing advisories, users filing advisories, to be aware of the FAA interaction. And when you land on the tool, when you land on the main landing page here, you have a few options as a user. You can upload an advisory using a GeoJSON file, which is pretty slick. If you have files, now this also has an API, so programmatically can ingest data. But if you have single files or just a few files as a user, you can also just upload those and publish them directly through the interface. File a new advisory manually. You can also geolocate yourself on the tool. So what this is using is my browser IP. If it takes it, there it goes. So it puts me closer. Now, if you were using this on a mobile platform, whether it be a phone or an iPad or a tablet, whatever, with a GPS capability, and you authorized it to access that location service, it would get you really granular. So if you're in the field as a user using this tool, whether you're a first responder, whether you're doing site surveys, whether, insert your use case there, you can zoom quickly to your location to file an advisory, and also to zoom in and see any advisories currently listed in your area. Excuse me. So if I'm going to create an advisory, there are some required fields here. Advisory name, let's just say test advisory, because this is a production system and I want to be able to pull this out after we're done here. Mm-hmm. Start time, we'll say today at noon. End time, today, let's say 6 p.m. Frequency, daily, monthly, weekly, does not repeat. So it allows you to file an advisory that's a one-off, or a repetitive advisory. Now, advisories that have already been filed, you can edit and change the frequency, or you can reissue the advisory, which means that it will leave the original advisory in place and then reissue that advisory using the same geometric, same advisory shape, but you can specify different times. Let's say does not repeat, so this is a one-off. Publishing agency, advisory type. So we had a working group of 11 different state agencies in gathering requirements for this tool to make sure that we had all the appropriate advisory types for different agencies, whether it be first responders or local government. So the advisory types that are currently in the tool: public safety first responder, disaster management, site data collection, hazardous materials incident, local government, and public safety large audience event. So that could be anything from a festival to a protest. Since this is a test advisory, let's just say site data collection. And then restriction level is, this is kind of the really interesting part of the tool, is that we have 3 different restriction levels that actually map to many more different types of users. But from the public side, unrestricted advisories are searchable. And sensitive advisories are searchable. When a sensitive advisory shows up on the public interface, it will not be populated with any of its associated metadata. So it won't have any of the point of contact or phone number, but it will show you the area of the advisory on the map, and it will to allow you to let you know that something is going on. Excuse me. And then restricted is for law enforcement first responders. This is going to be advisories that are only accessible to police, fire, EMS, depending on the situation, with sensitive data within a house within those advisories. So I'm going to say unrestricted, and I'm going to say this is a UAS operation. And then I'll just go ahead and put my information in here. Now, let's say this advisory is going to be in Richmond. So let's zoom there. And then zoom in to the city. Now you see altitude restrictions and what have you. Let's just go ahead and say we're going to be flying over the James River, just south of the city. You can draw, You can edit, and then you submit. Successfully submitted. Now, the other thing that this tool does is it provides intersection advisory information. So I just filed an advisory that I'm flying south of the city today. So say someone else.
In case somebody else is going to be flying in the same area.
Yes. It will provide you information of the other operator.
So that you guys can get in touch and kind of discuss your work and make sure you're not.
And deconflict, exactly.
Right.
So here's the intersection information, and it tells you POC, phone number, start and end time of the intersecting advisory that's already there. It also will generate notifications to each user. And in addition to incident intersection notifications, there's expiration notifications. So it keeps a user abreast of their expiring advisories as well as any incident that might impact existing advisories. And that's the basic operating elements of the tool. We also have a satellite layer, and you can also remove the airspaces layer. So
what's next on the roadmap?
Well, John, do you want to speak more to this? Yeah.
Sure, happy to. So I think Amber, we're going to have a nice user group meeting tomorrow with some of this new functionality. Mm-hmm. So the next item on the roadmap is social media integration. So once these are published, the ability to make those available on things like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn feeds. Obviously, most of these departments have a Twitter account, and so the ability to educate the public is only as good as getting in front of people. So we want to integrate with those items. The next major movement here is we're in the process of onboarding several FAA approved LANC USS suppliers, and the interface for the tool is meant to be open to any approved LANC USS. So I know Dr. Wilson's engaged with several different USS providers, and we've already got a handful onboarding technically. But it's an open platform. So the desire is to have as many USSs as want to do so, consuming information from the platform and making it available to operators and integrating that into their flight planning and safety algorithms. And then there are some thoughts about what happens next year. And I think that's still in progress, right, and being discussed at the user group level. But there are quite a few things that you could do in this vein of information sharing and collaboration. So,
well, it's exciting. Congratulations on getting it off the ground, and it's cool to take a look under the hood. And as we mentioned on the full podcast recording, transparency education is I think extremely paramount for any emerging industry, especially one that's highly regulated as drones and aerospace, and kind of debunking some of the perceptions going on there, and then ultimately talking about the real value that we're getting from these tools and this technology. So if anybody didn't hear the podcast with Scott, John, and Amber, definitely head over to InterDrone.com and you can listen to the full recording where we really hear more about Virginia Fix, kind of what went into the project and other cool stuff that they're doing in Virginia. So thanks again, guys, for being here, and thank everybody for tuning in.
Thanks, CJ.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.